you'd be sitting quite close to the edge. And the entertainment was this. You look down the end of the line, and sure enough, there'd be one of these like 12 or 11-year-old novices who started to get sleepy, because young men need their sleep. And they start nodding. And as the sermon went longer and longer, the nodding went more and more. And the monks next to you would dig you in the shoulders. It's going to happen. Look, he's going to go soon. And sure enough, he'd nod so much he'd fall off. Now, when you fall off from 2 feet with these robes, there's a more than even chance you're going to be showing off a little bit more than just your sleepiness. So these little novices would expose their underneath, and everyone would laugh and wake up. That's our entertainment. It's very cruel, but it's just village life. So that's why you don't have high seats. No, it's really because of simplicity. So you don't have to worry about having luxury. Comfort, yes. Luxury, no. Otherwise, you can imagine just what technology could do with your cushions you sit on. You can probably have these electronic cushions. You have to plug them in. And they have a warmth, so you can actually adjust the temperature, first of all, on the bottom. And adjust the angle, forward or back. And just the softness. And they can push the back up, or the legs. You can have legs coming up this way and legs coming up that way. Even the backrest to catch your head. And in the side of the backrest, you have this little sort of CD player saying, I will be mindful, I will be mindful, I will be mindful. You can imagine what you could do with high-tech meditation cushions. I'm sure there's an opening there for entrepreneurs in Malaysia. So we keep it simple, and then it's easy. But what about, because when I leave here, and some of you leave here, what about when you go on aircraft overseas? That's a high seat, isn't it? It's about 30,000 feet. Is that breaking the 8 precepts to go on a high seat? No, it's just luxury, that's what it is. So we do these things for simplicity. We don't eat in the afternoon so we can have an empty stomach, so we don't have all the blood running to the stomach. You know how sleepy you are after a meal? It means in the evening you're not sleepy. You're free. So your body gets used to it pretty quickly. Again, those of you who've got some medical condition, you can take something in the evening, just if you're having to take some medication, or you've really got gastric problems. It's not a big thing, but just keep it very, very. Have a biscuit or something, or a glass of milk, but not a 3-course meal. You're doing this to keep it simple. That's all. Okay, Ajahn Brahm, how does eating affect our meditation? I already said this. Eating what we should and what we should not eat. Okay, it's not what goes into your mouth which is the problem. It's always what comes out of your mouth. So don't speak or complain. How should we choose our food? You choose just the right amount, middle way, not too much, not too little, not just the food you like. Sometimes, if you really want to practice, when you see the food, choose everything you don't like. Not the food you like, leave the food you don't like and choose everything you don't like and eat that. Can you do that? It's tough, isn't it? What is this likes and dislikes? When I was a young monk, we used to eat disgusting food. Frog on rice. Boiled frog. That's all we had, one meal of the day. A bowl of sticky rice with a boiled frog. Actually, more like a toad than a frog. Boiled toad on rice. I used to be a vegetarian before. You couldn't be a vegetarian in the first years because there was no vegetarian food. It was just frogs and lizards and not cockroaches, but crickets, ants. If it crawled, you ate it. When we're having frog on rice, the monk sitting next to me, we start with the legs because there's a bit of meat on those legs. That's like chicken, you can eat that. But that's not enough to keep you going for the whole day. So you start picking at its insides, at its organs. The monk sitting next to me, that poor monk, he was picking the organs as well. Not knowing biology, he pressed the frog's bladder. The bladder still had urine in it, and that frog peed all over his rice. It's a true story. Even though he was hungry, he couldn't eat after that. So, it was tough in those days. So, what I learned is to not worry about your food. It's all 4 elements. Earth, air, fire and water, that's all the food is. So what you have for lunch today, 4 elements. What you have for breakfast, 4 elements. What's on the menu today, 4 elements. So you just eat 4 elements every day. So don't bother about your food. Do we choose our food by desire or by being adventurous to avoid attachment? Yeah, mess around, be adventurous. How should we eat? Fast or slow? You can eat both. Should we eat until we feel full or deliberately eat 70% for whatever reason? Mess around. Eat 120% today. Don't eat tomorrow. So that doesn't matter. It's just food is just food. Shove it in your mouth and forget about it. Dear Ajahn, I observed that lust and sexual desire arise during this retreat. Even when I was meditating, is there something wrong with me? Yes, there is. Now, of course there isn't. When it comes to lust and sexual desire, people think they're weird. But everyone's the same. Is there something wrong with me? So far I have tried to control it and imagine dumping the lust and sexual desire. Sometimes I try to divert my attention to something else. Is there a better way to subdue my lust and desire? Thank you, sadhu, 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 with metta. Okay. If you have sexual desire or lust. So what I used to do when I was a young monk, if I saw a pretty girl come in the monastery, I noticed that my eyes would immediately go to that part of her which is the prettiest, which really excited me. And that's why I never saw other parts of her, just the pretty parts. When you're lustful, you're just looking for happiness. You're looking for pleasure. So, to counter that, I made this resolution. Whenever I saw a pretty girl, I would always try and find her pimple. Everyone I saw had a pimple somewhere. If I looked hard enough, I'd see the pimple. And as soon as I see the pimple, yuck. And that's called asupa meditation. See the faults in things. If you have lust, you have to see their faults. If you have anger, to see their beauty. To balance your perceptions. So this is actually, what the Buddha advised. Because if you actually have lust, and you don't see the negative part of the object of your lust. It's so she's got such beautiful hair. Oh, her nose is just so cute. But you just wait long enough and you start to see the snot coming out of that cute nose. You'll start to see the dandruff in her glossy. Whatever it is, after a while, you come to sort of a middle way. You see that the object of your lust, whether it's a boy or a girl, it's just a girl, that's all. It's just a boy, that's all. And please don't put all this pretty and beauty and strong things on your partner. Because those of you who are girls, you know how hard it is being a girl. Having to be fashionable, having to be beautiful. When I was in Melbourne a couple of years ago. Now, anyone who's been to Melbourne, it's a very cold city in Australia. This was like in the winter time. And it was such a freezing day. And even I was put an extra robe on inside to keep myself warm. And as I've been taking from one place to another to give a talk, I looked out the window and saw these girls with the latest fashions. They have these T-shirts or jumpers which finish just above the navel. And their skirts or trousers, they start way below the navel. They have this huge band of bare flesh. And I thought, they must be freezing. Can't they put a scarf or a jumper on there somewhere? No, because it's fashion. all the amount you have to suffer for fashion is terrible. What about these boys? They used to have to pierce themselves all over. I used to think that was torture. Pierced here and pierced there. What do you do that for? Fashion. So when you have lust, it's a lot of suffering. How much time do you have to spend at the hairdressers? How much time do you have to spend at the beauty parlour? How much time do you have to spend sort of finding all these oils and ointments to make you look like you're not? Now be careful, all you men, because when you actually get married to her, you find out what she really looks like. I must admit, I'm a bit of a naughty monk. I've got a sadistic sense of humour. When I do wedding blessings, when it's a wedding, the woman spends, I don't know how much time the day before at the hairdresser's beauty parlour. They really get themselves looking nice. Really great hairdo, lots of makeup. And part of the wedding ceremony is actually to sprinkle them with holy water. I don't sprinkle them, I drench them. And all the mascara starts to drip. All the hair starts to go tangling. And then I said to her, do you really want to marry her now? I'm really mean. Usually by that time it's too late, so she's got him, it doesn't really matter. So that's how to overcome lust. It's just a lot of deceit, that's all. So those of you who are meditating here, just look. That's why I like not just the women and the men to be in the women on this side, men on that side. Just you're not women, you're not men when you come on a retreat. You're just human beings. So that's why we don't wear makeup, why we don't sort of have revealing clothing, because you just look like a person. If you ever notice, when a person is born, when they're 5, 6, 10 years of age, or before puberty, they all look the same. You can't tell the difference between a boy and a girl, just on the outside. And when they get past 40 or 50, again, they don't look the same. They look the same again. If we didn't have fashion, skirts outside, we did sort of put dye on her hair, all the girls would have grey hair, same as the men. Your breasts start to sag, so you can't see them anymore. And you just look the same as a man. So we start off the same, and then at puberty we're different for a little while, just so we can have sex and have babies. And then we come together again when we're old. And there's a lot of time we just accentuate our differences. And really, what are you having lust for anyway? So it's much better to have peace. If you're in a retreat, this is peace. So there's no men, no women. There's just yogis. So we just transcend sex. It makes it much more peaceful that way. Later on, if you're looking for a partner in life, then you dress up, accentuate all your curves, sort of make yourself looking really nice, because you've got to find a partner. But on a retreat, this is no lust, no sex, just with people. We let go of the body. That's what we have to do. Okay? Okay, next question here. Ajahn, does everyone encounter the same experience, that is the process of the nimitta and jhana experience? Yes, they do. An amazing thing, which, one of the insights which I got, that when you see nimittas, everyone actually sees the same thing. So why is it that some people see white lights, some people see gold lights, some people see purple lights? Actually, that's what you add on. You colour it in. You see the same thing. Why is it if a Christian sees an angel, they see the angel with wings, made with a donut on the top? Why is it when a Buddhist sees a deva, they see this beautiful bright light, no donut, no wings? When a Thai sees a deva, they've got this bead crown on its head, just like in the temple paintings. Of course, they all see the same thing, but we add the wings. We add what we expect to see. That's what we see. Half of it is what's there. The other half, we add what we expect to be there. It's perception. So yeah, we do go through the same things. Second, does jhana come to those who are virtuous or just about anyone with the right practice of meditation? It's much, much, much easier when you're virtuous. And the reason is that, I'm going to say this tomorrow, or tonight, sorry, when I talk about jhanas, when you see a nimitta, its brightness, its brilliance, its purity is very much a measure of your virtue. So much so that with the disciples in Perth, because I spend so much time there, I know those people very, very well. And I can predict pretty accurately who's going to get nimittas in the retreat. Because it's the virtuous ones, the ones who really serve, who really give, the ones whose generosity is just part of their life. They're just so selfless, they're pure-hearted people. They never get angry at anybody. They're always there to help. You know, people like this, they're just really good, pure people. When they see their citta, their mind, which is what the nimitta experience is, there's going to be a beautiful, brilliant nimitta. All the kindness, compassion, forgiveness they've given, the selflessness of their lives makes their citta just so pure and bright and brilliant. So when their citta comes up, when they see that nimitta in front of them, it's incredibly beautiful. And they go straight into a jhana, or very quickly anyway. But for others who haven't been behaving, maybe there are 5 precepts, maybe on the waistsack I keep the 5 precepts, but it's only a little bit of alcohol. Middle way, come on, let go. It's in business, you've got to tell lies. It's not really a lie, it's just business, that's all. Those sorts of people, you find when a nimitta does come up, you still can get the nimittas, you'll be dull. You won't have the power of purity. That's what I discovered. I found it's the virtue. The power of virtue is the initial brightness of your nimitta. But don't worry, all is not lost. If you get a dull nimitta, there's always something you can do with it. It's almost like a trick which you could use. Even if your virtue isn't perfect, you can still get into jhanas. Just like Angulimala would be able to do. You focus on the brilliant part, the beautiful part in the middle. Even in dull nimittas, there's always a beautiful part there somewhere. And when you focus on that, that expands. You focus into the most beautiful part of that, and that expands. As if you choose the most beautiful part of you. If you focus on that, and that's enough to get into a jhana. It's another way of practicing. But those of you who've got really great virtue, it's just so easy. As it should be. It's your reward for your pure actions of body, speech, and mind. Any questions on that? Okay, next question. In walking meditation, should one's eyes be open or shut? Okay, if you shut your eyes when you're walking meditation, you are going to have an accident. So keep your eyes open. You usually look down about 2 meters in front of you, not to the left, not to the right. So you just focus on where you're walking, what's coming up next, so you don't trip over anything. That's all. So keep your eyes open, focused about 2 meters in front of you. Don't look anywhere else. And you mentioned that a monk, while doing walking meditation, went into a jhana and started bumping into the trees. How does one prevent that? Should one quickly sit down when one feels jhanas are coming? Thank you. You can either sit down, you can just stand and stop. Whatever it is, stop moving, and then you'll be quite safe. But it's usually rare that somebody gets into deep meditation while walking. Usually the sitting meditation is the most common for people to get into deep meditation. Because when you're walking, you're looking after your body too much, and there's too much going on there. If you're standing, when you're still, then you can do these things. But sitting is much more comfortable. Okay. I must have read this already. Does everyone encounter the same experience? Yeah. Does jhana come to those of virtue? What is the purpose of attaining such experiences? The purpose is, number one, to encourage you. Because when you're meditating, quite frankly, you want to get something out of it. Even though I say no expectations. If you come on this retreat and you get nothing except a sore back, a sore bottom, and a lack of sleep, then you're never going to come back again. And you're going to go home and said, what did you do for your vacation, for your holidays? I sat through pain, ate, bored out of my mind. They think you're crazy.